Hello, Judith here again. Go ahead, grab your makeup, and let's get my Igbo bride glam up. So here is my beautiful bride. Her name is Shalom Chisom, my namesake actually. So first I started with trimming her brows. She doesn't like a thin brows just like me. I also don't like a thin brows. So I just kind of encourage her, like try to convince her to let me just trim the brows a little bit, because I know she was like, Tim, don't touch my brows. I can only let you touch my brows on one condition. If you're not going to take everything off. And just short quick story. I actually forgot my razor blade and I met one of my subscriber on this job and she gave me a razor blade. Wow. Thank God. So I took off the hairs from her brows on her face with a brush first, because wipe cannot like completely take it off. So I'm using my toner to clean her face and also leave it fresh for the next step. Next, I'm using my green tea setting spray. This spray goes with me everywhere because I love how hydrating this spray is. This spray goes with me for everywhere, for every makeup I do, every skin type. This is just the bomb. Then going ahead to moisturize her lip with a lip balm. Then next I'm going to be using my snail mucin for more hydration on her skin. I love the feel of this snail mucin on her skin. But if you don't have the snail mucin, you can use your Omari Code hydrating serum. It does the job as well. It's a cheaper option. I use it as well. It's really nice and it does the job very well. Sometimes I blend with my hands, but in this case I decide to use my brush. So I'm using my Olay Complete Moisturizer. This moisturizer is completely oil free. Bright Chisom has an oil skin, not really oily, but kind of oily a little bit. And it's her wedding. She's going to be up and going everywhere. So I'm trying to play safe. So I use an oil-free moisturizer. So my Mismetic Power Seal, this is a sweat and oil control tonic. This does the job very well. This is going to keep the face intact for a very long time, like 12 hours. Trust me when I say that. So just make sure you apply that, make it dry completely. So I'm going into the skin with my Mismetic Aqua Grip Primer all over the skin. When using the primer, make sure you dab it into the skin, guys. Don't drag your primer because she has a lot of things going on her face already. So why drag the primer? It's just going to keep moving products around and you don't want that. So make sure you tap that in, like using a fluffy brush. Sometimes I use my hand, but no, my fluffy brush does it for me most times. So I apply it and let it sit into the skin for a while. Then I go into the skin with my Becca primer using a small brush on the T-zone. I use my Becca primer only on the T-zone. Of course, I want the oil controlled on her skin, but I don't want to completely dry out her skin. I still want the makeup looking fresh and alive. So I tap that in. I just tap because trust me, when working with the Becca primer, you have to be very careful because it can crack. And once your primer is a base for your foundation to stay on. And once your primer is not well seated, trust me, whatever you apply on the skin is not going to be well seated. So apply that on the T-zone only and tap that into the skin. This is me using my fingers to tap that in and make sure it's tapped well into the skin. So to control the oil the more around the T-zone, I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is also help me. This is going to help me seal the oil. When it comes in, it just absorbs the oil back into the skin. So this is going to help to control the oil for a while, like 12 hours max. It's her wedding day. She's going to be everywhere, like I said earlier. So I just use like a powder brush to tap all over her skin. I just want to play safe. So this foundation is like my favorite mix, the Huda Beauty and the Nuban Beauty. And I used my Hagayan Ester Seal It to make the foundation waterproof. So I applied that on the skin. For an easy blend, I sprayed my green tea hydrating spray on the skin and I used my brush to blend it. The Nuban Beauty is a mattifying foundation. I will advise and highly recommend you apply your foundation one step at a time. Finish blending one part before going into the other part. Don't be like me. I blend really fast, but this was not easy for me to blend out. Just if you're starting with the forehead, be done with it. If you're starting from the other side of one part of the cheek, guys, be done with it before going into all over the skin with foundation. You don't want to go through the stress I went to because the Huda Beauty is really matte. So I use my beauty blender to make sure it's well blended. So for the blush, I mix the pink from the Eye Magic palette and my Avon lipstick because I want it to have like an orange blush, but I still want that pink to come from inside like you can see in this video. So I make sure it's well blended. Guys, make sure everything you put on the skin is well blended. You don't want to mess up someone else's wedding. So for an easy blend, I just sprayed my spray on the skin. This is going to give me like a very easy blend. But when you're doing this, make sure you don't spray too much spray because trust me, spray can make or destroy your makeup. It can help you blend, but once it's too much, it's going to be melting your makeup. So to highlight her face, these are the concealer I mixed, the Zaron and the Elegel and the Nuban. But for contour, I'm using my Nuban Beauty in 49 to contour her skin. I like to contour before highlights. So I like to do blush, contour, then highlight. So whichever one that works for you, you are welcome. Do what works for you. Discover your style and, you know, stick to it. But this is my style. This is what works for me. But I can recommend it to you because it does the job for me. It helps me blend in properly very well. So I'm taking my time to really blend because trust me, the Nuban Beauty concealer dries out really fast too. So I don't play around with it. I just blend one side, especially when I'm doing contour. I just blend one side and go on the other side to just finish up. And when you're doing like a bright makeup, you need to pay attention to details. Every detail is important. Every single detail is important. If you notice how I kind of moved her scarf backwards to get product every part of her skin. So this is me applying concealer, the mixture of the Nuban Beauty in 042 and my Zaron in deep and the Elegel in fawn. This is what gave me this mixture. The Elegel is going to give me a good consistency. And like I said earlier, when using the Nuban Beauty concealer, blend as you go. But the reason I applied on this side and applied on the other side is because I have the Elegel and the Zaron. So I like to, when I'm using those two concealers, I like to let it get tacky a little bit before blending. That's why I left it on the skin. And on the chin, I just used the one I have on the back of my palm. It was already a bit tacky, so I used it and kind of, you know, trying to blend everything together, paying attention to details, like paying a very close attention. And this lightning was kind of fluctuating. I wasn't just understand what's going on. And I think because I have like lots of people moving around in the background, not the background, in front of me, moving the light because we're close to the door. So when you open the door, it kind of moves the light a little bit. That's where we had like a good background. So I think that's why the lightning is just frustrating or fluctuating rather. It didn't really frustrate me. It wanted to frustrate me a little bit, but no, I didn't let it. Now I didn't let it. I stood my ground. I said, whatever lightning you give to me, however this video turns out, I am going to still sleep. That was what I told myself. So I didn't let it frustrate me. But the lightning kept fluctuating, but I kind of managed it. So to contour her nose, I didn't use the same shade I used to contour her skin because I don't want it really dark. I use in the shade 047. It's lighter than 046, 049, sorry. So to set under her eyes, I'm using my Nuban Beauty powder in mineral powder in O2. I can't remember the name attached to it. So I set first with a pressed powder before going into the skin with a setting powder or a translucent powder. So and before doing that, make sure you blend under the eyes first because you don't want under the eyes to crease. So these are the setting powder I'm going to be using. My Laura Mercier translucent powder and my Nuban Beauty in mustard. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of the Nuban Beauty into the Laura Mercier. I just wanted to give me that yellow undertone in the Nuban Beauty and the Laura Mercier. I just wanted to give me what it gives me, just the perfect setting, and this is what it looks like. This is what the mixture gave me. Do you mix your setting powder, guys? Mix your setting powder. Don't be limited. Try new things, try different things. So intensifying my blush, I'm using an orange from my eyeshadow palette to intensify the blush, just very little quantity. And also I'm trying to intensify the contour a little bit. I'm not using like a very dark shade, as you can see here. What I'm using is not very dark because I don't want that area looking really dark. I still want it looking soft because I'm trying to create like a timeless look, so this look will stand the test of time. So whenever she brings out her pictures, she still sees that her makeup still looks intact even in years to come. That is the idea of creating a bridal look. A bridal look is not just like every regular look you create. So learn the difference. So on for her eyeshadow, I used the brown from my Eye Magic lip palette as my base. I call that my multi-purpose palette. If you have been following me on this channel, you know why already. So the OGs on this channel know why that palette is called the multi-purpose palette, guys. So I used my orange as a transition, then using a brown from my eyeshadow palette on the lid. The reason I don't really show my eyeshadow when working is because you can use any eyeshadow of your choice, but I didn't really show product when working in this video because she was a bride and there was no time for all the paparazzi and the rest. I was just trying to get content and also get her makeup done and still be in time. Let's know I'm not trying to be selfish. Take her time, create my content and not deliver on time. So after the blending, I used my glitter glue stroke pigment glue on the lid. This is what I'm going to be using as a base for my eyeshadow. So I just make sure that is well blended before going into it with the eyeshadow. So I use my eyeshadow from my eyeshadow palette. You can use any palette of your choice, any palette you have, but I recommend Juvia's Place. I recommend Nuban Beauty. I recommend Elsa's Pro. That is my favorite eyeshadow, Elsa's Pro. So I just place that on the eyelid because it's a pigmented eyeshadow. I just keep adding and dragging it, just make sure it's stays properly on the skin. So this is me going on top of the brown I had earlier with the gold. So first of all, I applied a glue on the eyeshadow, then I went into this with my this is a dust from the Inglot Cosmetic. It's a highlighter, but I use it as the eyes, as the pigment, as the pigment. I use it on the eyes as the pigment, guys. So I'm just smudging under the eyes. Like I said earlier, don't be limited. Try out new things. There are so many things your product can do that you don't even know they can do, guys. Don't just, oh, it's tagged highlighter, it should be used only for highlighting. It's tagged blush, it should be used only for blush. No, don't do that. Explore your product. Sometime bring out time, explore your product. So I went on the outer corner of the eyes with a black eyeshadow, but just little quantity, just to darken the outer corner of the eyes. And I used my regular Beyond Beauty gel liner on the lash line before applying the false lashes. This gel liner, I've been using it for a very long time, and I highly recommend. Even though there is a new gel liner in town, the Younger Beauty Gelato, I'm going to try that really soon. Then I'm going to give you guys a review. But I've seen so many people use it on Instagram, and trust me, guys, it looks really, really beautiful. So I'm going to try it. So this is me trying to do the brows, and my head was covering my camera. I didn't notice. I didn't know what I was thinking. I was supposed to know that, okay, if my head goes this close, it's going to cover the camera, but you guys can still see the brows, right? And I didn't record the other part of the brows. If not, I would have put the clip instead. But you guys can still see the brows. The brows is laying. It's, coming together real nice. I use like a very sharp pencil trying to create a stroke on the outer corner of the eyes. When doing the brows, guys, especially when you're using a David's pencil, make sure your pencils are as sharp as possible. Some people use blunt pencils. I don't know how they do that. Like, how do you use blunt pencil to do brows? Are you trying to achieve like a blocked brows? Because if you're trying to achieve like a natural looking brows, a blunt pencil should not even be anywhere close to you. So I usually have like 3 to 4 sharp pencil on my hand because I don't have the time to keep going back to sharpen pencil and come back. And during this makeup, I wasn't working with an assistant, so I was just finding a way to make it easier for me. So, and also when doing any makeup I'm doing, I usually have like 4 to 5 sharpened pencils on my hand. It's easier, it's faster, and it's convenient for me. That way it's not going to stress me. So defining the brows, I use like a very tiny eye concealer. Sorry, like I barely had concealer on my brush to define the eyes. That is the advantage of doing brows after skin work and after eyeshadow. You don't get to waste your concealer unnecessarily, guys. So this is just it. So using like a darker shade on the outer corner of the eyes because I still wanted to have that natural look. if you use like a very light eyeshadow on that part, it's going to look weird and looks like another layer of brows. We don't want that, guys. So make sure you blend like your life depends on it. Especially when you're working on the bride, she's going to be out and so many people are going to be seeing her. So just blend like your life depends on it, guys. So I went on the other part of the brows, like on the other side to the top of the brows. The top doesn't really need didn't really need cleaning, but I'm really extra. I just want it to be perfect, and I want my clients stroke my bride really satisfied. So this is me setting the part where I conceal the powder, and I'm using my Wing Beauty mascara on her lashes before wearing her the false lashes. So this is the lashes we opted for. When I brought these lashes out, she was skeptical because she is like, the natural makeup kind of person, but I tried to convince her to go out of her comfort zone. It wasn't easy for her, but I got it done. I took her out of her comfort zone. And these lashes are from Wing Lashes, and these lashes are just given. This is the bridal lashes. So before spraying with my Morph Setting Mist, I kind of blended the face with a powder brush. Like try to make sure there is no excess product on her skin, because once there's excess product, you set, it's finished, guys. That's what it's going to look like. So I let the spray dry a little bit, and I went ahead to blend with my beauty sponge. That is to seal everything together and make it into one layer. This part is actually very important. So for the lip, usually the brown and the nude inside, and she kind of requested for this lip actually. I think she got a picture of or a video of this look on my page, and she decided this is what she wanted. So I lined with the brown from my Eye Magic lip palette. I'm taking my time to just line it, make sure it's well blended so I don't overline and underline. And I went in with the red from my Avon lipstick, and when this red lipstick came on, she was like, oh, because she had mirror in front of her, oh, this is not what I want. But I told her, calm down, I know what I'm doing, this is what you requested. And I used the two light shade of pink from my Eye Magic palette on it. So this is what it's looking like, and I'm blending and taking my time to blend, guys. I kept saying blend. You should actually blend like your life depends on it, because it's her wedding day and she's going out. People are going to be seeing it, and trust me, people are going to notice. And if people don't notice, you yourself that did that makeup, you'll notice that, oh, there's something actually wrong with this makeup, and you won't be satisfied. So you should blend and make sure you can't see any demarcation. You should blend to your own satisfaction. Until you're satisfied, don't stop. And make sure getting to your satisfaction don't take like the whole day, because she has to get married. So this is what the lip looks like, and this is what she actually requested. And being a gloss girl, I went into my classic lip gloss. I can't ever leave the lips not glossed. Maybe one of my videos I'm going to try doing a matte lip, but right now let me keep glossing and enjoy the view of my glossy lip. But this lip is giving what it should give. I really love it. So to intensify her blush, just to give us more of the rosy cheek, I went into it with my Tehila Cosmetic Blush Stroke Highlighter palette. Then I'm using the highlighter from the same palette to highlight her skin. I didn't want the highlighter so much, so I just picked like very little quantity to do that, because she's already glowing, so I don't want so much product on her skin. I'm using the shade Fantasy and one other shade, can't remember. So I picked a little highlighter with the tip of my finger to apply on the bridge of her nose, like the ball of her nose, and just blend into the bridge of her nose, using my favorite Wing Beauty mascara to add volume to her lower lashes, because that part is really important, guys. So just to blend the makeup together, I'm just dabbing my powder, just very little, almost having almost nothing on the beauty sponge, but just to blend that into together. So to seal her makeup, I'm making non-transferable and waterproof. I'm using a So Pro Seal spray, and guys, this is the finished look. This is when her accessories came on. Her dress is not on yet, and she is looking this beautiful, this gorgeous. So at this, we've come to the end of this video, guys. Please give it a very big thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel if you're yet to, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.